Lucky black cat. Lucky black cat. Lucky black cat.
Yes, dear leader. How may I serve you?
I need you to bring someone to the dark side.
You mean turn them against capitalism? Well, that's what I'm trying to do for everyone. I've devoted my life.
I need you to convince the one they call Destiny.
Destiny? Oh, you mean the YouTuber and Twitch streamer? Yeah, I know Destiny. I like him. He's like my favorite liberal.
Favorite liberal?
I only meant...
We do not have favorite liberals, just as we do not have favorite fascists.
Right.
Don't you remember? Liberals get the bullet too.
Sorry, dear leader. I forgot.
Make that mistake again, and I'll see to it you get the bullet.
Okay, so you want me to, make Destiny a socialist?
Yes. He has hundreds of thousands of subscribers on Twitch and YouTube. If you bring him to the dark side, the influence will spread to the masses.
Okay, I guess I could make a response video to him, but I don't know what to say. He seems pretty set in his pro-capitalist opinions.
Do not worry. I have a script prepared for you. I will beam it into your consciousness using that chip I installed in your brain.
Oh no, not the chip again. That really hurts.
Incoming in 3.
Seriously, don't.
2.
Can't you, send it by email?
1.
Or, print it?
Send in. Send complete.
Destiny! Hello, Destiny! I saw that video from the Surfs where you debate Professor Ben Burgis on socialism. I thought Ben did a really good job of defending his position, but I couldn't help but notice that Ben's answers seem to leave you, how should I put this? Unsatisfied. Although Ben and I can both call ourselves socialists, we got very different takes on how socialism is defined. That means I can give a very different set of answers to your questions than the ones Ben gave, and I believe you will find these answers more satisfying. Ben can't satisfy you like I can, Destiny. No one can. I made myself pretty for you. So, you had 4 main concerns about socialism or the socialist perspective that you expressed in your debate with Ben. Are capitalists actually immoral? Can socialism overcome incentives to destroy the environment? What about the stupid, ignorant masses? And can socialism provide a strong, thriving economy? Now, these are all important, legit concerns, and in fact, they're concerns I had back in the day, so I'm really glad you brought them up. And in this video, we're going to deal with them one by one. So, enough long talk. Let's run this.
Destiny. Pledge yourself to me, Destiny. Become my disciple.
Part 1. Are capitalists immoral? So, Destiny, it's clear you don't like the moral judgment that is sometimes placed on capitalists.
I would argue that it's probably not that huge of a moral wrong. And then you get into these weird areas where people are just saying fuck all rich people and fuck all landlords and fuck all capitalists. Well, what the fuck?
Alright, so I try not to put moral blame on capitalists, and I think Ben would agree. The problem is not with capitalists as people, it's with their social role. Some of my comrades might want to guillotine me for what I'm about to say, but I actually know a couple of people who used to be capitalists, and I think they're both really kind and generous and just really good people. Is it immoral to exploit workers and take their surplus value? Well, yes, I'd say so. But I'd also say it's senseless to blame this on business owners, because this is just how capitalism works. It's not the person, it's the system. The problem is that, economically speaking, workers and capitalists have opposing interests. What's good for one side is bad for the other. If you're a worker, you want high pay, good benefits, short hours, workplace safety, and the freedom to work at your own pace. But for a capitalist, that's not good. As a capitalist, all these things result in less profit for you. To maximize profit, you want your workers to work as fast as possible, as much as possible, as cheaply as possible. Basically, capitalists have an economic motive to make life for their workers harder and shittier. As you can imagine, this has a morally corrupting influence. I'm not saying capitalists are bad people, but if you are a capitalist, you might stop caring about your workers' well-being because their well-being stands in the way of your profits.
And what about when capitalists do care about workers? Well, they tend to be less successful and often go out of business. Nothing is more corrupting than a system that punishes those who care for others and rewards those who don't.
Now I am beautiful for dear leader. Dear leader, do you think I am beautiful?
Makeup is bourgeois decadence. You bring shame upon your comrades.
Part 2. Incentives to destroy the environment?
In capitalism, you have a few big companies that can basically fund a whole bunch of climate change denialism and stuff like that. But in socialism, I would imagine what these companies would do is these companies, kind of like unions, would all come together in order to use their bargaining power, their leverage on society in the form of paying for advertisements or influencing elections or nominating politicians. That's what they would do.
So, how does Ben Burgis respond to this? Well, he does say that in socialism we'd have more democratic power to stop global warming, but unless I misunderstood him, he seems to agree with you that socialism would have the same economic pressures as capitalism to destroy the environment. I have to completely disagree, and this comes down to the different visions of socialism that Ben and I have. Ben is of the social democrat tradition of socialists, and I'm more of the tradition of socialists that has historically been murdered by social democrats. Not that I'm blaming Ben for that. No hard feelings, Ben! None at all! No, for real, Ben, we good still. I love you, fam. Ben's vision of socialism, if I understand correctly, includes a private sector of worker-owned cooperative businesses, which, just like capitalist businesses, compete with each other for profit. Other socialists, including me, have a different vision of socialism. For starters, workers would not own their own workplace. Instead, each workplace and the means of production as a whole would belong to everyone. That is to say, the wealth that we workers produce would belong to all people and be used to advance the common good of all people. Another difference is we would not produce goods for the purpose of making profit, and this is key because if you take away the profit motive, you take away the main motive for environmental destruction. Businesses don't use environmentally sustainable methods. Why? Because those methods are usually less profitable. But take away the profit motive, you take away the problem. Businesses clear-cut forests, cover ecosystems in suburbs, mine coal, pump oil, all because it's profitable. But take away the profit motive, you take away the problem. And next point you brought up was about coal cooperatives pushing against environmental reforms because coal workers would not want to lose their jobs. But this would not happen in socialism because workers would not depend on their job for a decent standard of living. In socialism, if you're out of work, you still have your home, food, healthcare, everything you had when you were working, and free education to retrain for a new career. So losing your job, not a big deal. Now, I know all this brings up new questions like, how the hell would an economic system function without the profit motive? I will be explaining this, but it has to wait for a future video. Sorry.
If I ever let you down, I'm sorry. Ever made you cry, I'm sorry. Ever made you cry, ever made you cry, ever made you cry.
Yeah, I'm Karl Marx. Makeup is bourgeois decadence. Bourgeois decadence? I'm a bourgeois deck you upside the head. Fucking pretentious commie beard. topic. Stupid people. I just love talking about myself.
I used to be smart, but then I did this too many times.
There's already what percentage of Americans that don't even believe that climate change is real. Like I said multiple times, like workers are dumb or whatever. But I think in general, like people seem to be like pretty clueless about issues. And this isn't just workers. This is like all sorts of different people.
Okay, so you're concerned that too many people are ignorant and that this will still be the case in socialism. I think Ben makes a really good point on this.
It's not just that people sort of happen to form these views on their own, that there is a very large and very profitable industry devoted to propagandizing them about. I mean, how much money does ExxonMobil spend, promoting the idea that this is a myth.
But then, Destiny, you also make a good point.
In this new economy that we're talking about, is all advertising banned? Because why wouldn't like coal mining co-ops do the exact same type of advertising?
True say, Destiny, we'd be no better off than we are now, brainwashed by profit-seeking companies to the point that they might as well be controlling us through a chip in the brain. This is why the social democrat version of socialism is flawed, and it's why we need an economic system where we no longer produce for profit. Profit needs to get the F up out the picture. Bye-bye. With no profit motive, there's no economic motive to have any sort of advertising or fake news bullshit to spread lies about climate change. So we could expect the discourse in the media to get a lot more informative and accurate. Also in socialism, we can pour way more funding into education than we do now. All the wealth that in capitalism is hoarded by the rich would instead be freed up to use for the common good of all humanity, which of course includes improving education. Another reason we'd have more funding for education is that in socialism, various industries that were necessary in capitalism would no longer be needed, like advertising, sales, finance, insurance, corporate law, patent law, to name just a few examples. This would free up workers to move into other industries, including education.
Dear leader, I have something for you.
What are you doing? No! 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 Oh, actually, that looks rather nice.
Part 4. Can we have a strong economy? So strong. So very strong. Oh yes. Don't fuck with this muscle.
So Ben made a good point about automation or technology taking over human jobs. In capitalism, automation causes unemployment and desperation, but not in socialism.
If the workers were controlling the company, then they could just say, hey, why don't we each just work 2 hours instead of the 8 hours that we used to? And since we're getting just as much produced, then, we could all still earn what we did before.
Makes sense, but for you, Destiny, it raised a concern.
Is it realistic that our economy could thrive in a global economy when all of our workers are working like 1 or 2 hours a day?
So I get your concern. I do. We don't want to stagnate, and we don't want our economy to become weak, like some sort of cat ear-wearing soy girl. It gets tiring after a while. But look, if you hear me out, I think you'll agree there's nothing to worry about. Trust me, brethren. Okay, so imagine a social society where our work hours are short. We have more free time and free education at any age. And not just academic education, but free training in any skill, trade, or profession. This combination of free time and free education could lead to a renaissance of discovery, creativity, and advancement in every field, from science and technology to art and entertainment. It could be freaking awesome, yo. You might be thinking, well, I don't know, all this innovation and advancement takes a lot of work, and why would people bother when they could just work 2 hours a day instead? One thing that's nearly universal among human beings is our desire for life to have a sense of meaning and purpose. We don't like too much idleness or to feel like we don't contribute anything. It gets boring. You feel empty. It hurts your self-esteem. I think most people will find it boring to work so little. They'll want something more out of life and will be eager to develop and strengthen their skills and talents, and to use those talents in a way they find meaningful, to experience the sense of pride, passion, and purpose that comes when you contribute something you feel is important. Okay, so let's reconsider your concern. You want a strong economy that spurs innovation and advancement, and you think that compared to capitalism, socialism can't compete. But what if it's the other way around?
Stephen Jay Gould said, "I am somehow less interested in the weight and convolutions of Einstein's brain than in the near certainty that people of equal talent have lived and died in cotton fields and sweatshops." In capitalism, many people are deprived of a good education, and so the talents they could have offered the world are not able to develop. In capitalism, many children grow up poor and malnourished, and this does serious harm to their intellectual development, which robs society of their potential. Also in capitalism, people's freedom to innovate is blocked by patents. People avoid inventing anything that improves upon a previous invention, because doing that can get them sued for patent violation. And also in capitalism, because companies are in competition, experts and innovators working for different companies are forbidden to share their knowledge and research with each other. This slows our advancement in all kinds of things, even life or death issues like finding cures for disease. In socialism, we can avoid all of this bullshit because we can provide free, high-quality education to everyone, eliminate poverty, and put an end to the competition for profit that leads to patents and knowledge hoarding. With these obstacles cleared away, economic advancement will get a big-ass turbocharged boost.
So it seems safe to say that socialism could provide us a strong, thriving economy. But what if people decide to only work 2 hours a day? Would that be so bad?
Remember, we're not talking about a situation where our economic output declines. We're producing as much as ever, but thanks to automation, we've cut down our work hours. This, of course, frees up our time to pursue hobbies, or things like sports, art, music, traveling, learning, spending time with loved ones, and various activities that enhance our enjoyment of life.
Sure, this would come at the expense of expanding economic production, but so what? Economic production is just a means to an end, and that end is human well-being. Our goal should not be to maximize production, but to maximize our well-being. At times, economic growth can serve that purpose, but at other times, we should sacrifice some growth for the sake of enhancing our well-being in other ways. With the economy, as with other things, what matters is not size, but how much it satisfies.
Lucky Black Cat can't satisfy you like I can, Destiny. No one can.
Hey everyone! I hope you don't mind me asking you for a favor, but I don't know if Destiny will actually see this video or even find out it exists. So if you could, please tweet this video to him at model 7ths, MODALSEVENTHS. Yeah. And hey, maybe we can actually get Destiny to watch this. And it would also be really cool if we could get Ben Burgis and the Surfs to watch it too. So I put everyone's contact info down in the description, and if you can spare a minute, maybe send them the link too. That would be so great. I also want to say, if you liked or commented on my last video, or you subscribed or hit that bell, you truly touched my heart and you filled me with hope. And for that, I really owe you a big thank you.